What if the habit that keeps someone energetic at 60 is not intensity, but restraint? Because a lot of people spend the first half of life treating energy like something to extract. Push harder, sleep later, recover somehow, repeat. And for a while that can look like strength, until the body begins sending quieter messages. The kind people ignore because they do not sound dramatic enough. A heavier morning, a slower recovery, a mind that feels alert in bursts, then foggy without warning, a day that starts with intention and ends in depletion. The strange part is many people respond by adding more. More stimulants, more supplements, more complicated health routines, more pressure. But there is a reason some older adults seem calm, light, and steady, without looking obsessed with optimization. They are not always chasing energy. They are protecting it. And one of the most useful lessons in Japanese-inspired daily living is that vitality often comes less from heroic effort and more from removing the things that quietly drain you every day. The habits that keep people steady over decades rarely look dramatic from the outside. They look modest, ordinary, sometimes almost too simple to matter. That is exactly why they last. The first habit is beginning the day with gentle movement before mental noise takes over. Not an intense workout, not a heroic routine designed for social media. Just a small physical reset early enough to tell the body clearly and calmly that the day has started. A short walk, a few minutes of stretching, standing near a window and moving the joints in sequence. In many Japanese daily rhythms, there is a quiet respect for starting the system before demanding performance from it. This matters more with age because energy is not only about how much you have, it is about how smoothly the body transitions between states. If you wake up and go straight into screens, decisions, and stimulation, the nervous system often enters the day in a fragmented way. But light movement improves circulation, reduces stiffness, and helps regulate alertness without creating unnecessary stress. It gives the body a cleaner signal. The psychological effect matters too. When the first action of the day is physical and simple, you avoid the trap of beginning in evaluation mode. You are not asking, how productive will I be today? Or do I feel motivated? You are simply entering the day through motion. That lowers friction. And lowered friction is one of the hidden foundations of consistency. Practically, this means the habit should be almost too easy to refuse. 5 to 10 minutes is enough. The goal is not fitness performance. The goal is activation. Put slippers by the bed. Leave the curtain slightly open. Keep a light sweater or walking shoes visible. Let the environment help the behavior happen before your excuses wake up. The second habit is eating in a way that supports steadiness instead of entertainment. This does not mean eating joylessly. It means respecting rhythm. Many people lose energy not because they are doing too little, but because their day is built on spikes and drops, heavy breakfasts that cause sluggishness, long gaps that create irritability, snacks that lift mood briefly and then leave the body flatter than before. A calmer approach works better. Smaller meals, more regular timing, more attention to how food affects clarity. An hour later, not just pleasure in the moment. In Japanese-inspired eating patterns, there is often an emphasis on moderation, portion awareness, and stopping before fullness becomes heaviness. That alone can change the emotional texture of a day, because the body does not only process food, it also processes load, and overeating, irregular eating, or constantly stimulating appetite can create a low-level fatigue people misread as aging itself. The brain is involved here as much as the stomach. When blood sugar and hunger cues swing too hard, attention becomes less stable, patience drops, and self-control becomes more expensive. People then blame themselves for feeling unfocused when the real issue is that the body keeps being pushed into correction mode. Stable energy depends on fewer emergencies. That is why the practical goal is not dietary perfection, it is predictability. A breakfast that does not flatten you, a lunch that supports the afternoon instead of sabotaging it, a dinner that satisfies without making sleep heavier. Simple meals repeated often enough become protective, not boring. Protective. And that brings us to the third habit, which may look passive from the outside, but is often one of the most intelligent things a person can do after 50 or 60 building short pauses into the day before fatigue becomes obvious. Most people rest too late. They wait until the body is already complaining. But real energy management is earlier than that. It is the ability to notice when your attention is thinning, when your posture is collapsing, when your mood is becoming more reactive, and to respond while the signal is still small. In a more disciplined lifestyle, rest is not laziness, it is maintenance. A brief pause at the right time protects the next few hours. Stand up. Breathe slowly. Step outside. Sit quietly for 3 minutes without scrolling. Let the mind stop bracing. This is not about doing nothing. It is about preventing unnecessary depletion. That is where many people get it wrong. They think energy comes from adding fuel. Sometimes it comes from reducing leakage. The fourth habit is keeping daily life more ordered than stimulating. Not sterile, not rigid, just easier to move through. There is a reason calm environments matter more as the years go on. Clutter is not only visual, it is cognitive. Every misplaced item, every crowded surface, every vague plan, every unfinished decision creates a small tax on attention. One tax is manageable. 50 of them can quietly drain a day. This is why simple Japanese-inspired spaces feel restorative to many people, not because emptiness is magical, but because less visual noise means less background processing. The brain relaxes when it does not have to keep sorting everything. And with age, that matters even more. You want your energy going toward living, relating, moving, reading, working, not endlessly managing mental residue. The practical form of this habit is modest. Clear one surface. Keep one chair you actually sit in. Put frequently used items in obvious places. Reduce morning choices. Lay out tomorrow's clothes tonight. Keep the kettle cup and notebook where your routine naturally begins. These are small decisions, but they reduce decision fatigue before the day even gets complicated. And once again, this is not about aesthetics alone. It is about friction. A smoother environment asks less from you. When daily actions require less searching, less correcting, and less negotiating, energy stays available for more meaningful things. This is one reason some people look unexpectedly fresh later in life. They are not spending themselves on preventable chaos. The fifth habit is ending the day earlier than your impulses want to. Not necessarily going to bed at sunset, but reducing stimulation before the body has to fight you for sleep. Many adults say they are tired all day and then strangely awake at night. That is often not a mystery. It is a rhythm problem. Too much light, too much information, too much mental reopening after the day should have been closing. A more sustainable system treats evening as a descent, not a second daytime. Softer lights, fewer decisions, less scrolling, simpler rituals, tea, reading, light conversation, a short bath, gentle stretching, preparing the next morning. These habits look quiet because they are. But quiet is often what allows the nervous system to stop performing. The psychology here is simple. The brain learns from repetition. If every evening ends in stimulation, the body stops trusting night as a time of recovery. But if evenings repeatedly signal closure, the system begins to downshift with less resistance. Sleep improves not only because you are tired, but because your body is no longer confused about what comes next. And that may be one of the deepest points in this whole conversation. Energy at 60 is not only about how strong you are, it is also about how little you force the body to fight itself. So, if you want to stay energetic without leaning on supplements for every slump, start with the ordinary things people overlook. Move gently, early. Eat for steadiness. Pause before depletion. Simplify the environment. Close the day with intention. None of these habits will impress someone addicted to dramatic solutions. But that is not a problem. What looks small is often what survives. And what survives is usually what carries you. The deeper lesson is not that effort no longer matters. It is that effort must become more intelligent, less wasteful, less theatrical, more respectful of rhythm. Real discipline, especially later in life, is not forcing the body to obey endless demands. It is learning how to support energy before you need to rescue it. Small habits do something big over time. They reduce conflict between what you want and what your day makes possible. They make vitality less accidental, and that changes everything quietly, not through intensity, through design.